The only American prisoner of war in Afghanistan has been released. Authorities say he is in good condition. Sergeant Bo Bergdahl is thought to have been held by the Taliban for about 5 years, although the circumstances surrounding his capture remain unclear. Today, the 28-year-old was let go in exchange for the release of 5 Taliban prisoners from Guantanamo Bay. Those prisoners will be transferred to Qatar. The country helped broker this release deal. Ivan Eland is a defense analyst at the Independent Institute, and he joins us on the line now from Washington. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me on.
Are you surprised that a deal was made to secure Sergeant Bergdahl's release?
Well, I think this has been in the works for a while, at least a week, and it is sort of a surprise because the Taliban, you never know when they're going to negotiate, because they've resisted general negotiations, and they still may resist general negotiations on any sort of peace deal, but they're certainly willing to negotiate this release, and it's occurring, and it's really great for the family of the U.S. soldier that's been captive for so long.
Governments always say they will not negotiate with terrorists. So does this deal indicate that's not really the case?
Well, it's almost always true that governments do negotiate with terrorists. Israel negotiates prisoners with Hamas and Hezbollah, who they argue are terrorists. And, of course, the United States has done so in the past. Even one of our more macho presidents, Ronald Reagan, tried to trade arms to Iran to get hostages out that Hezbollah, which was an Iranian group, sponsored group in Lebanon, had taken in the 1980s. So these types of negotiations go along all the time, and governments will profess, including the United States, that they don't negotiate with terrorists, and they often do.
How realistic are concerns that the release of these Taliban members could end up back on the battle lines?
Well, I mean, they could. I mean, we have freed other prisoners from Guantanamo, which is where these Taliban people have been held, and they have gone back to the battlefront. But in this case, we have Qatar, which is a government in the Middle East, and they're sort of keeping the prisoners for a year, but they may very well go back to their ways after a year, because I think after a year they may be released by Qatar. But Qatar is at least, using its good offices, and of course, they're helping the United States, and they're also helping the Taliban get back their prisoners. But, there is a mediator here, but I don't think there's any guarantees after a year where these people will end up.
All right. Ivan Eland, defense analyst at the Independent Institute. We thank you, as always, for your time and expertise.
Thanks very much.